welcome. This is Allison Vanilla, your professional life strategist. And today I want to talk to you about reflecting on your career. This is an important topic for me because I'm looking at my retirement from my 30-year career as a psychotherapist in private practice. It's a job that I loved on day one, and I will continue to love until the day I finally close the doors of my practice. My doors have been semi-closed for the last almost 5 years, where I've not taken any new clients, but I've been slowly discharging the ones that I have. And what I want to say about that is that it is a wonderful process to see people be able to live healthy, purposeful lives and to be able to overcome and be victorious over the challenges that they've been facing, and to be instrumental in that journey for them. So that would be the case whether I was a brain surgeon or whether I am, as I am, a psychotherapist. I'm also taking on a new career that is equally intense in a different way, as someone who's coaching people to have healthy relationships and have really good work-life balance, something that I've valued for myself for the past 30 years. So in a way, I'm moving more into a more teaching mode versus a therapeutic mode. But let me talk to you about career reflection, something that I've been doing off and on for the last 5 years, and more so as I'm getting closer and closer to finally closing my practice. I am just so privileged in that I am able to supervise interns who are now coming into my field. They are getting their licensure for psychotherapy. And as a clinical supervisor, as a qualified supervisor here in Florida, it's a pleasure for me to just work with them and to see how excited they are to enter into this field. They come in bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, and just ready to save the world. And it's my job to give them the knowledge that they could move through all the various phases of this career with ethics and with safety, keeping in mind what their needs are as well as the needs of their client. And sometimes I have to do some reality checking with them, but never do I want to dull the spark of enthusiasm that they have for this field. Because in all honesty, I'm still enthusiastic for the field. If I had to start all over again, I would do it all over again. I'm one of those people who God just blessed me to be in the right career at the right time. And of course, there's some things I would change in terms of my career trajectory, but everything that I've learned in my career, I've been able to use. It's so important that you know your why. It's so important that you understand why it is that you entered your field or your career. That is why you were enthusiastic about it in the first place. You don't want to get to the place of having this enthusiasm and this excitement to go into the place where you're just dragging yourself into your job and just praying for retirement. I thank God that even as I'm so close to retirement, I still feel an excitement. I still love to look at my calendar and see who's booked for a session. And I look forward and I prepare for meeting my clients. And I enjoy seeing them in wellness and being able to proactively plan for them for periods of challenge so that they know how to continue to be well, even beyond my intervention with them. So that's what I'm doing with them right now. I'm helping them plan for what to do when I'm no longer available. And that's part of it too. Part of your job as a therapist is to work yourself out of a job. So my last clients are people who will be able to continue on without me, and I'm very happy for that. So let's talk about that. So career reflection, as I said, first thing you want to do is to reflect on why. You're going to ask yourself some questions about your purpose and fulfillment. You're going to ask yourself, in the past 6 months, What's been the most rewarding aspect of your work? Think about that. Wherever you're at right now, are there places that you could still reflect and say, okay, that's still that's still something that brings a little excitement, gives me a little bit of adrenaline rush. Take the time, write that down, and think about it. And if you can't write down anything, then there's a different conversation that needs to be had, because that means you're probably approaching burnout. You also want to say, are there areas of your work that feel meaningless and draining? And that's why I think a lot of people are. They are so consumed with the minutia and the things that feel meaningless and draining that they don't even see the other aspects of their job that still bring joy and excitement. We need to shift our focus. Now, it could be that it's a 90-20, 90-10 situation. 90% of it is meaningless and draining, and it's only a 10% that really sparks an interest in you. I heard somebody said the other day that the only thing that sparks an interest in them with regards to work is lunch. Now, if that's the case, again, another conversation needs to be had. But sometimes that little 10% is something that maybe if you pay a little bit more attention to it, you could magnify and you could optimize and expand. And maybe that becomes 30, and the part that feels meaningless and draining is only 70. So take some time to look at those two things. Lastly, how closely does your daily work align with your personal values? If your daily work is so egregious to your personal values, then the answer is something even beyond your work. The answer maybe it's within your spiritual values. Maybe the answer is within where you connect in a human way with people. Think about the clients that you serve. Can you still maintain your values and serve your clients, even though you're in a context of an organization or a system that may not be aligned with exactly who you are? We are not all privileged enough to work in situations and scenarios where our organizations or agencies always line up with our values. As a Christian therapist, for many years before I was in private practice, I was in agencies whose values were not always aligned with mine. However, I needed to find a way to maintain who I was and to work ethically within these systems that on some levels I felt did not have the ethics that I valued. But I needed to know where the boundary was. How do I do the job I was hired to do, but still maintain the values that are deeply held to the marrow of my being, to my soul, my spirit? So if there is no alignment and no place of congruence that you could work within that, then maybe you're not in the right place. And if you're looking at doing a career reflection, you now have to say to yourself, if not here, where? Where can I go? Where can I be? Because you want at the end of the day to be able to reflect back and look at all the time that you spent. We spend a lot of hours at our jobs. We spend a lot of hours engaged in our careers. You definitely don't want to spend all those hours engaged in meaningless, draining, unfulfilling work that does not align with your values. So I want you to think about that. Scripture says, Proverbs 16:3 says, commit to the Lord whatever you do, and he will establish your plans. Tune in tomorrow. We're going to continue our career reflections worksheet and look at some other things, because again, I want you to, if you're entering your career, I want you to enter it with a spark, but I don't want that spark to peter out when you get to the place of reflecting on your career and exiting it. Whether that exit is a month, a year, 10 years, you want to build something that you can reflect on in a positive way. and say, it was good that I was there for me, and it was good that I was there for the people that I served. All right, so that's it for today. This is Allison Bonelli, a professional life strategist. I'm inviting you to dream big, set goals, and take action.